All right, and there is a public hearing later on. Is the phone line turned on? Audio for the phone going?
Yes, we have 6 callers on the phone.
Okay. All right. Well, we will get started then. All right. Welcome everybody. This is our June 23rd, 2 p.m. consent agenda meeting. It is 2:04. Please let the record reflect that Commissioner Kearns and Cuney are present via Zoom, and Commissioner French is out today. So we do have one public hearing item on today's agenda and several by-leave items, but I will look to my fellow commissioner for a motion.
Commissioner Kern, so I move to approve item number 1 and all sub-items, item number 2, all sub-items, item number 3, and all sub-items, and by-leave number 5, which is a resolution in the matter of implementing the total compensation study for Spokane County. By-leave item number 6, which is a resolution in the matter of approving the expenditure of up to $75,000 to conduct a classification study for Spokane County by Evergreen Solutions. Item number by-leave 7, a resolution in the matter of amending Spokane County Personnel Policy number 217, percentage of employees. By-leave number 8, resolution in the matter of amending the Spokane County Training Policy number 530. And by-leave item number 9, which is a resolution in the matter of approving the Spokane Regional Charter project title, Regional Bridge Housing Center.
All right, I will second the motion. Any discussion?
Commissioner,
Yes.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If I could ask, I think it's by-leave number 5, Commissioner Cuney, does that was changed, Mr. Amacio and I made some changes during the noon hour in that. Does the copy you have reflect Evergreen?
By-leave item number 6, and yes, I stated.
Okay. Sorry, thank you. Yes, okay, then that change got in there. Thank you.
Yes, and then by-leave item number 9, I also ensured that I stated that is for in the matter of approving the Spokane Regional Charter. It's a specific project title, the Regional Bridge Housing Center.
Thank you, Commissioner. That should be fine.
Okay, we have a motion and I seconded the motion. So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 2-0. Motion passes unanimously. That brings us to item number 4, which is a public hearing. This is in the matter of application of MCI Metro Access Transmission Services Corp. Does business as Verizon Access Transmission Services for an amendment to franchise number 18-0582 to maintain a telecommunications system in, over, along, and under county right-of-way in Spokane County, Washington. And I believe we have a presentation, from, is it Deborah Firkins?
Yes.
Okay, I can just barely see you in the corner of our screen there, so.
Considering the application of MCI Metro Access Transmission Services Corp., DBA Verizon Access Transmission Services, amendment to franchise number 0582. Verizon Wireless applied for a small cell franchise number 20-0299, which was granted, that covered all of Spokane County, and has requested that their other telecommunications franchise under their MCI Metro name match the same area to better serve the public. MCI Metro is also the successor to NextLink, which was purchased by EXO, which is a subsidiary of MCI Access Transmission Services. EXO renewed NextLink's franchise number 98-0606, which covered a substantial area of the county, by franchise number 18-0717. The Public Works Department recommends that the amendment of the area to MCI Metro's franchise number 18-0582 be granted. We've also received a email against this proposal from a John Hancock. He writes that my wife, Jane Sloan, and I are abandonedly opposed to the expansion of the current telecommunications franchise, which currently is 5G in disguise. The public health risks of the current high-frequency broadcasts have been suppressed. The rights you're being asked to sell will cause further harm to persons living near broadcast equipment. Estimates are that 5G will be up to 10,000 times more intense for homeowners within 300 feet of such small emitters than current equipment in use. The list of all county roads, highways, etc. is alarming to us. We live in the county to escape harms like this that cause so much illness in our cities. It's surely too late to turn back our current franchise, but it is not too late to stop the additional alarming intrusion on the rest of your taxpayers. The cost Verizon is prepared to pay, even if it were published for the right-of-way, cannot be compared to the health costs because those lifetime expenses will not be borne by the county commission. Be on notice of this caution because of willful neglect of this part of your duty is to serve and care for us is required. Unless you've studied all the published information on the health risk and officially found it to be insignificant, we think you'll be acting unlawfully. If you've published such findings about the risks in Spokane, please send the link. We urge your rejection of this plan unless you can prove its safety. That's the only communication we have received on this franchise outside of, I think Verizon is actually present on our phone links. They said that they would be. So that's what I have, commissioners.
Okay, thank you, Deborah. Is there somebody from Verizon on the line that would like to say a few words?
There is. Can you hear me?
We can, yes.
All right. Well, this is Jason Verdusco. I work for the Government Affairs Division of Verizon, and actually I was at the small cell franchise that was passed previously, and so I was here to speak about this one and bring some clarity to this one. So, I did want to just, like I said, bring some clarity. The franchise that's before you is for Verizon's fiber division, and so this is only for fiber, so traditional wireline fiber. And so we're expanding that because Verizon Fiber, which is MCI, is expanding the footprint to businesses throughout not only the city, but we want to expand that into the county. And the previous franchise that MCI had is a very small, narrow part of the county, and this will now expand and open up the county to bring fiber throughout the county. So this franchise has nothing to do with the wireless portion. It is strictly for traditional wireline fiber.
Okay. Okay, Commissioner Cuney, any questions?
Yeah, so are you expanding the fiber? You're saying you're expanding the fiber within Spokane County, so to areas that aren't served currently?
That is correct. Under our previous franchise, which was under XO Communications, Verizon Fiber, which is MCI, bought out XO, and that gave us the previous fiber franchise, which is a small portion of the county. This will allow us to expand the fiber footprint.
Okay, great.
All right. Okay, Commissioner Kinney, any further questions for Deborah? No? Okay, this is a public hearing item. So if there is anyone on the line who wishes to testify on public hearing item number 4, please speak up. Second call for anybody on the telephone line who would like to testify on public hearing item number 4. Third and final call for anybody wishing to testify. Hearing no one wishing to testify on public hearing item number 4, I am going to close the public hearing, and I will look to my fellow commissioner for a motion.
So Commissioner Kearns, I move to approve in the matter of the application of MCI Metro Access Transmission Services Corp. doing business as Verizon Access Transmission Services for an amendment to franchise number 18-0582 to maintain a telecommunications system in, over, along, and under county right-of-way in Spokane County, Washington.
Okay, I will second the motion. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 2-0. Passes unanimously. Well, that does it for our printed agenda and our by-leave items. So I believe Commissioner Cuney and I still have in effect permission to use our stamps on all of the documentation. So if you could please take care of that for us, it'd be greatly appreciated. And I guess we will move into our printed agenda. It is now 2:14, and next up on our agenda we have Doug Chase with a parks update. You're muted, Doug.
I'll get there.
There we are.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Good afternoon, commissioners.
Yeah.
With Gina's assistance, I have a document to share with you as part of our department update. There's a fun activity that we've been busy working on that will be very new to our community, and we're still in the very much in the working stages of this, so it has yet to be finalized, but I am feeling very confident that the remaining details will be coming together here in the days ahead. And that is part of a community-wide drive-in fireworks display that is being worked on with our partners, the Spokane Indians, in the lead, as well as City of Spokane Parks. I was recently approached with this, I guess, idea or concept, and was very excited to participate. And basically, with the traditional fireworks shows canceled, as we traditionally know them, with the large group gatherings that are not allowed, there was an interest in coming up with, I guess, a positive activity for the community to partake in that would and could meet the various COVID-19 guidelines. And therefore the idea was born of the drive-in fireworks display and having a series of smaller shows that occur at the exact same time spread throughout the community, which would help, again, spread out visitation and opportunity. So we're looking to host one of these at our Plants Ferry Sports Stadium facility that's in unincorporated Spokane County, but also borders the city of Spokane Valley. And we're pleased to have this. Another show location is at the Avista Ball Stadium. And there's two others that are being again, as part of this, one at Ferris High School and one at the Dwight Merkel City of Spokane complex. And we've been working diligently with officials from the Spokane Indians and the City Parks Department to work on all the logistics and details. Some of the specifics, for example, would be limiting very much the parking, with only every other parking stall being occupied, very specific instructions for social distancing that will be handed out to each visitor. There'll be staff on hand to help facilitate and manage the parking. On the sites, Garrett Jones, the city park director, has been working closely with Dr. Lutz for these various measures. And one of those is we would not open the gates or the sites to accommodate parking until an hour and a half before the show. And that, again, is intended to limit congregation of folks, even though they will be dispersed. And so the lots would open at 8:30 and the fireworks shows would occur at 10 p.m. And the Spokane Indians are working diligently with sponsors to help raise funds to cover the cost of the show. We are contributing with, as a partner and co-sponsor, we're able to accommodate the site location and provide some minimal staff time with our park ranger the evening of the activity. And so at very minimal cost to the county, we're able to be a title sponsor in contributing towards these community events for the 4th of July. Any questions?
That's great. I love the concept.
Good. And yeah, this is a draft, and you can see there's still a few items that are in the works and will be filled in as if were to scroll down a little bit. There's a few areas that will be added to. So this was just current as of this morning, and we'll have more details forthcoming. But if all comes together as planned, there may be some announcements as early as this Friday for these upcoming events. And I wanted you to very much be in the loop and certainly supportive of being a title sponsor before any such great announcements were to come out.
Commissioner Cuny, you have anything to add?
Yeah, no, I think it's a great idea. I think I think people are going to be looking for things to do. It's a different time than it has been before. I mean, we don't have the Indians playing at the baseball stadium, so there's normally a fireworks show after that, and that's always a sellout.
Right.
So I think,
Right.
I know when I talked to Chris Duff, he was trying to come up with another way to engage the community and support the community. So I mean, I just want to say thank you to. I think Chris was kind of one of the ones who spearheaded this, Doug?
Yeah, definitely. And Otto, just great partners to work with, great folks. And yeah, they're very interested in keeping the community engaged, saying thank you, and really wanting to relay a thank you to the county as well for the great partnership that we have with them.
Yeah, so I'm excited, as long as Dr. Lutz, is kind of approves it all. That was the main thing. But I think I'm really excited about it.
Yep, it's been a fun opportunity to work with a lot of great people, and we see it coming together nicely. So that's great. I did have one other item then that I was hoping to touch base with, and
Hey, Doug,
that yes.
I just wanted to add in there that I wanted to thank you for including me on that planning team, and to let the commissioners know that the planning team is working with me and the county to make sure that we get a lot of credit for helping sponsor this event. So our logo and our messages will be part of all that material that's going out, everything from the press releases to the flyers to the social media. Spokane County will be attached, and it'll look like a big joint effort between the city, the county, the Indians, and the sponsors. I don't think any of those single partners will be getting any more of the lion's share of the credit than any of us.
Yeah. Thank you, Jared, too, for your help with that committee. Okay.
Okay, well, Doug, thank you very much.
Okay, and if I could touch on one more item related to the department. A few weeks back, I had an opportunity to share a plan related to our aquatic operations for the 2020 season, and I visiting with Jerry and just looking at the calendar and the time involved, I was hoping to touch base on that to see if you have additional questions or might be comfortable providing some type of direction related to that. Thank you, Gina. Again, on the screen is the document that we shared a few weeks back. And I'm happy to update on what I know and what I have heard, I guess, since the time this document came out about a day prior. The state had released guidelines, the State Department of Health, and that will limit occupancy up as much as 50 persons per facility. And you may recall the scenario we looked at with social distancing would reduce our 500 person capacity down to 150. And there was potential for those state health department guidelines to further reduce us down to 10% of our occupancy or less. Since those guidelines have come out, I have, we of course worked closely with our fellow jurisdictions in the area. I am aware that the city of Spokane has been advised by our local health district that their 350 capacity will be limited to 50 persons plus staff if they were to open. My understanding is the city of Spokane Valley will be in a position through their contract with the YMCA, they will be limited to 40 persons at any one time in their pools plus staff. And we have inquired of the health district a couple weeks back, but have not been given a formal response whether we would be held to the 50 persons or not. But based on the correspondence I've seen with the city of Spokane, that would suggest that there's a greater likelihood that we would in fact be held to that 50 person limitation, which would effectively reduce our capacity by 90%. And this is an operation where we rely through our business model on approximately 50% cost recovery under normal circumstances. So at a rate of 90% reduction in capacity, the cost per patron served potentially moves from an ordinary season of just over $6 to more in the neighborhood of $150 not recovered per patron if we were to try and operate under such great restrictions. So that would be the updated information that I have to share that I at the time was not privy to.
Wow.
And I'm happy to answer any questions or look for some additional information.
Commissioner CUNY?
So basically, we're going to still keep the pools closed because at this point in time, it doesn't make economical sense. And I think if it's getting reduced to even to 50, it's like then you start to have who gets in and who doesn't, and it's very difficult at that point in time. Kind of would seem where our numbers are right now. I mean, we had, I think 50, I don't know if you saw, Josh, 56 cases, positive cases today.
It's something like that. I think we set another record.
Yeah. So, so I mean, I think, I know we keep trying to, Mayor Brickner from the Liberty Lake keeps trying to talk about splash pads and all of that in some of the parks. But I haven't seen where those are even going to open. So, it's interesting that even at 50% or 50 people and less, that they're looking at opening pools. So
it would not be until phase 3. I apologize. Looking ahead, and yes, that is one of the challenges is just the 5 to 6 weeks that it will take us from the time a decision is made. And so in looking at the calendar, I'm up against that point in time where I don't think we would effectively be able to open looking at what's left on the calendar unless we were to pursue that right now. And under the circumstances, I certainly wouldn't recommend that. My goal is more to provide the, really provide the information and why we would recommend against that. There are also some challenges with the staff training right now, where the training exercises that are involved technically would be in violation of the COVID-19. There have been plans and proposals to labor and industry submitted that have been waiting for a response for a few weeks. But on the training side, there's a lot of concern with my staff because if we were given a green light tomorrow, we wouldn't be able to conduct a lot of the training required to open these facilities, even though the state guidelines allow them to open in phase 3. There's still a few areas that have yet to be addressed to be able to really do that properly. And it's a very complicated, unfortunately, situation, and we are in a difficult spot.
No, it's very sad.
Yeah. Now we get it, Doug, and it's not your fault, but by any means. I mean, it's just this. It's the reality we're faced with right now, and it's very unfortunate.
I will say we are getting a lot of calls, as you might imagine, as we get closer.
Sure.
In a day like today. But what I think is worth sharing is when we've explained to members of the public why we haven't made a decision and what it might look like, they've been those that we've visited with have been very understanding of the possibility that we just won't be able to open this year. And so it's been nice to have those conversations. That's not always the case, and I'm sure we'll have some education to do, but we've been pleasantly surprised with the level of understanding in recent weeks from the community.
Okay. Well, thank you, Doug. Thanks for being up front with us and bringing us up to speed on where we're at.
Okay. So are you comfortable with us announcing that there will be no aquatic season this summer, and working with Jared, of course, to do so in a way where we're working hard to educate the community as to why we are in that position?
Yeah, I think we want to make sure that it's obviously Jared. It's with great sadness that we have to do this. I mean, we want to do it. So I mean, I would want to make sure we emphasize that, and that talk to the health district too, to kind of have their rationale as well. So it's not just us choosing to do this. There's several reasons why this can happen, and that it is with great sadness that we have to not be able to serve our public like we like to.
Yeah. And make it clear that pools come in phase 3, and we're not in phase 3 yet.
True.
So,
True.
And the timing of how long, like you said, how long it takes to start it. It's not like we can flip a switch and those pools are ready to go tomorrow. So
Right.
there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. So just timing and where we're at in the phases does not allow for it to happen.
Right. Because phase 3, it only allows for 50 and under. So
Correct.
That's the other piece of it. It's like we really would have had to get to phase 4 to make it feasible.
Well, and a lot of the activities we do, like the swim in the movies that are so popular in the parks, we wouldn't be able to do those movies until phase 4. So that's another challenge as well, not being in a position. And the guidelines have already caused the cancellation of swim lessons. Would simply not be feasible. And at this point, we would be a best case scenario of serving less than 5% of the folks that we normally would. and it would require additional funding that we don't have budgeted at a time when I think funds are scarce, and people really understand that.
Yeah. No.
Jared, you can work with Doug and get something put together?
So Doug preempted this conversation this morning or last night with me, and I have a draft news release that I will send to the commissioners in 30 seconds.
Okay.
And I feel like all the 3 or 4 points that you all hit upon, we've covered in this news release, but I'm open to any other additions, suggestions, improvements.
Okay. All right.
Definitely.
Well,
Thank you very much.
much.
I really appreciate the direction. Very helpful.
Thanks, Doug.
Okay. Let me pull back open here. After Doug, we have Becky Garrett and Pat Farrell again for IT technology request follow-up. I see
Yep.
Pat's on
I'm
with
here.
us.
And Carrie's in the room. There's Carrie. Okay. So we talked about scanner requests this morning, and the only ones that we're aware of here in IT, I've got 16 requested scanners, 1 webcam, and an unknown quantity of printers from the prosecutor's office. So these requests don't amount to a lot. The scanners, they're about 1,050 a piece, 1,142 a tax, times 16 is like $18,000. So we're not talking a lot of money here across these requests that we are aware of. Carrie, are you aware of any others?
I've seen a few that have already been e-subbed, but really honestly, after I went back and looked at the request, I think with webcams and scripts for Zoom and everything else, it was $38,000 in IT cost. And that pretty much covered everything except, Pat, what you and I had talked about, what you guys had to spend to get the system up and running, but it was only about $38,000 total. And that included the 7 laptops and everything else. So it's been mainly purchases of webcam and Zoom subscriptions, but nothing else was in the system. Nobody has sent me anything requesting scanners. John has indicated maybe there's a couple of departments out there that haven't put their ask in, but thus far, the only thing that came, like I indicated earlier, were the 18 or 16 scanners in yesterday's presentation that did not include the city's request.
Okay.
Public defenders, I think municipal court and others, there were some other scanners made in those requests, but as far as county departments, no.
Okay. Additionally, I have had an order in the pipeline for some time for a number of webcams. I think there's like 88 of them. And I think the order is going to be, I placed the order shortly after the COVID event occurred, and then, the supply chains have been pretty shaky, as we all know. So they have not arrived yet. I think I have an ETA on those of next week. So those could certainly be added to this, Carrie.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure Jen did code those to the COVID e-sub.
Yeah, that's probably where I'm coming up with them. There was a number in there that we discovered yesterday as I went through, but
Okay.
Again, I think the biggest ask in that was Zoom, honestly, for the cost of the last couple of months, and that's been about it.
Pat, how much are each of those scanners?
The ones that we've been purchasing, we've been purchasing a Fujitsu model. They're about $1,000 a piece.
Is that just a scanner, or is that like a scanner, printer?
It's a desktop scanner.
Wow. Why are we going with such an expensive model?
That is what we have been purchasing for most departments as of late. We've also purchased some other, what is it, an Epson model? I'm pulling it up here. It depends on the customer's need, Commissioner Kearns, but
Okay.
so, and the volume of documents they need to scan.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then more recently, let's see, we've actually purchased some What do these things scan? Oh, that's a big one. Some Pocket Jet scanners that have worked for customers, and they're more in the $300 range. These are $254. So for low volume scanning needs, we've been purchasing these.
Pat, you can share your screen if you'd like.
So I guess, Pat, that's the question I'd have too, is kind of what are their needs? Because like I've got we've got a couple of Fujitsu scanners here at the house. I mean, I've got one at my office computer, and Max uses them at work, and they're 300 to 400 kind of time. They were
Yeah,
great.
this guy's these are $254 for this Pocket Jet Mobile. Looks like we purchased some of these for the sheriff's department. We purchased a Amazon Epson workforce model for juvenile court, and those appear to be $249 a piece. So we can certainly get a again, it's like a printer. It just depends upon your needs. As you need a desktop printer, you need a multi-function printer.
Right.
The cost varies.
Commissioner Kearns, where it's like, let's make sure we're getting the printer or the scanner that they really need, and not overkilling it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just because I think the Fujitsu snap scans, those are just awesome little scanners, the double side and all different sizes and all that.
But here, based on the information I received, in the request, the departments at this point, they don't give me a lot of detail. So we would have to interview them and just define what their needs are. The public defender here, for example, just puts, desktop scanners. I don't know what model they're requesting. So we would want to talk to them and find out what the duty cycle is and what kind of scanning needs they really have, and then select the appropriate model.
It's the same thing on the prosecutors asked, commissioners, because they just had printers and law and justice. So it's really hard to tell. And when you're talking about scanners, there is a big difference from somebody like myself who scans everything into a database, or somebody that just wants to scan an occasional document and send it out. So it would really depend on the need. I think one of the things, maybe Pat, we can update them about the discussion that you and John and I had, and that might be another way of reaching out to the departments. So do you kind of want to go into a little bit about that and kind of update them, and that might answer some of their questions?
Yeah, so I prepared a draft email that I sent to John a little bit ago that just basically defines what we've got going on here with the CARES Act funding for teleworking. And what I'm doing is just having John suggesting that he shares out a spreadsheet that folks can go in and they can update with the current number of teleworkers that they have in their department, and then the projected number of teleworkers that meet the specified criteria, which is all yet to be defined. One of the criteria being the teleworker has to be working from home for X number of days a week, and we can come up with some other criteria. But this will kind of give us a gauge of where we're at currently, and then where departments see themselves being in terms of teleworkers in the future.
So commissioners, we kind of use this as, being the basis that, John could possibly send out to department heads so that they could really review their workforce. So it wasn't, everybody gets a laptop, but, taking a really good look at who's got one currently, what kind of, and Pat and I talked about working on some kind of requirements or some kind of guidance for them. So it's not the person that's maybe working one day a week from home that's going to get a laptop and then sits on the shelf. So we're really trying to look at the best use of these. So we're really getting the laptops out to the workers that are home working currently, instead of just giving it to an occasional worker and working with the department heads. So I was thinking maybe we could also incorporate some of this about, we know that some of you have got scanner requests, to find out what their needs are before we just, put it out as a free-for-all. One of the things I really wanted to make sure is that we had a way that some, all department heads could access this, because John doesn't have time to, answer 900 emails, neither does Tessa nor myself. So if we put it in one time, that way we were putting everybody's request in so we could get the best cost and best bang for our buck here. Because we have requests that have already gone into some of the, I think the governor's office had already put in for a request for 15 laptops. So unless we kind of put some kind of restriction around it, we're going to have drips and dribbles instead of one order. And that's what we're really trying to do. So we kind of want to just update you if you guys would like to have further or provide Pat and I further guidance on what kind of requirements you'd like to see, your parameters. That would probably be best. So if there's certain things you really would like us to put in there to pass on to department heads, you can email it to me later or to Pat later so that we can incorporate it in there. And we're certainly going to keep you in the loop on that. But just kind of wanted to present that to you and kind of give you an idea. We're trying to be mindful as well.
Okay, it's just I would think if we're getting somebody a laptop to work from home and then they also need access to a scanner, chances are they're probably going to not have a printer that's accessible too. So I would rather us buy some, all-in-one printer scanner copiers, which I know can be acquired at way less than $1,000, that would just get you a scanner. So I mean, let's see what we can do to kind of get the biggest bang for our buck here. And I not saying this is the model you'd go get, but I mean, I've got one here at that I purchased personally probably a year ago from Costco. It's an HP. It's a printer, scanner, copier all in one, and I doubt we paid more than $250 for it. It does all that. It has all those functions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Commissioner, do you want to donate that to the bunker?
It's being put to work in my bunker, so.
Darn it.
So yeah, the idea is, we purchase the laptops are a commodity. We purchase those in bulk, and then we identify the customer's needs for the printer scanner capabilities and purchase those accordingly, trying to give them the best value and lowest cost model that'll meet their needs.
But really, putting a spreadsheet out, trying to find out, on that area, we have no idea. All we saw was what was presented through Maggie yesterday. Nothing's come through my office. And when I talked to Tessa this afternoon, nothing with regards to scanners has come through her either. So we're kind of flying it in the dark here, except for what was presented to you guys. So we really kind of need to know before we do, a full-on presentation about what this would cost. So if we have your permission, we'd like to just collect that information. We know about laptops, but as far as scanners and printers, again, we would really need to know what their needs are.
I think we totally can respect that and appreciate that that's the ask. So, okay. Commissioner Cuny, anything else? No. Okay. Did I hear John? Were you speaking up?
Nope. We're going to be collecting all this info from our department heads starting tomorrow. So all's good.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Pat, for helping us out with that.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. And then next up on the agenda is we're going to stick with you, Carrie.
I think we're going to wait. I sent Gary a kind of a just rough, and he's helping me reconfigure it so it makes more sense to you guys. So we'll be sending something out probably by the end of the week, maybe first part of next week. Sure. Because he's got to help me. It's like trying to really formulate this so you guys have an understanding of what we've spent, what you've awarded, what's, what the total amount that you've allocated, and then really what's been spent. is, I think we've got to get that to you this week.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Okay. All right, well, that brings us back to miscellaneous. Does anybody have any miscellaneous items? Commissioner CUNY? Okay. Anybody in the room?
Oh, wait.
Oh, go for it.
So, so we got an email from Charlie with Kathy Morris Rogers' office on looking at the new space headquarters.
Space Force.
Space Force. So I don't know that there's much we can really do about that at this point in time. I know, I think they're having a meeting tomorrow. I'm not going to be able to be on it, or Thursday. I think we're both at the health district.
Okay.
So we're not going to be able to listen in. So John, I don't know if there's somebody else who can listen in on that to see kind of what the thoughts are. And I can forward that to you.
Could you? Yeah, just forward it to me.
Okay. Just to see what the thoughts are. So yeah, because we won't be able to be there.
Okay.
Kind of all I had.
Okay. I see Karen in the back of the room. Any updates?
Nope, no updates yet.
Okay.
And, Al, if he is feeling up to it, he's going to call into that meeting that you mentioned. But, you know, we don't know how.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, if that's it, I mean, I guess we'll adjourn. So last thing, Commissioner CUNY, anything final you want to deal with?
Nope.
Yeah, I got nothing else right now. So, okay, we will wait to hear and see if we decide to do a special meeting either end of this week or beginning of next week. So that announcement will be made if we're able to make that happen. So.
Perfect.
Okay.
I think that'll be important.
Yeah, I agree with you. Okay. All right. Well, then in that case, everybody have a great afternoon. It is 2:50 and we are adjourned. Bye.
Take care.